chubby cheeks, pudgy toes, an irresistible giggle. There's no question this baby was born with everything she needs to succeed at being cute. But what about in college? Or at work? Will her upbringing or her DNA set her up for success? Nature versus nurture. It's the classic debate over whether our environment or our genes has a greater influence on behavior. But new research is tipping the balance in nature's favor, with surprising results about the genetic predisposition of our personalities. So whether you're a worrier or a warrior, an optimist or a pessimist, character traits may be a lot more hardwired than we once thought. The stories are familiar. Ordinary people who overcome the odds to achieve extraordinary success. A child grows up in a housing project and becomes a billionaire. And the son of an abusive, alcoholic stepfather ends up president of the United States. For many years, psychologists thought a person's IQ was essential in determining success. Short for intelligence quotient, IQ is a standardized test score developed more than a century ago to measure brain power. It's also been used to predict success in school, at work, and in your wallet. But social psychologists have begun to focus on human behavior and personality as better predictors. Turns out, our personality traits are strongly influenced by our genes. This idea that behavior and personality are written into our DNA is a relatively recent development. Famed naturalist E.O. Wilson inspired a new field of research with his 1975 book, Sociobiology. He introduced the idea that biological mechanisms drive social behaviors in all animals, like aggression in baboons and altruism in prairie dogs. At first, applying this theory to human behavior was controversial and rejected by many social scientists. But in the last decade, research in human genetics and neuroscience, including the decoding of the human genome,
we are here to celebrate the completion of the first survey of the entire human genome,
has opened doors to new theories about human nature. Psychologists at the University of Edinburgh recently studied personality traits of over 800 pairs of identical and non-identical twins. They wanted to find out if genetics or upbringing has a greater influence on success in life. Twins are the perfect control group because both types usually share the same home environment, but only identical twins share 100% of their DNA. Non-identical twins are genetically just like regular siblings. During the study, the pairs were asked questions like, are you influenced by people with strong opinions? And are you disappointed about your achievements in life? The researchers found that identical twins were twice as likely as non-identical twins to have similar scores in learning, sociability, decision-making, and sense of purpose. But above all, one trait had the closest scores between identical twins: their sense of self-control. Even though the non-identical twins shared the same home environment, their scores weren't as similar, leading researchers to conclude that genetics plays a greater role in shaping our personalities. Our parents don't pass down their traits directly. They only pass down their genes. Those genes generate proteins that affect the production and uptake of chemicals in the brain called neurotransmitters. It's this neurochemical cocktail that influences our behavior. New research is also linking personality to brain structure. By combining brain volume measurements and personality test data, scientists have recently discovered areas of the brain that are associated with major character traits. Extroversion, a common quality of successful people, is associated with the medial orbitofrontal cortex, the region that processes reward information. But the trait that most often predicts success? Conscientiousness. This trait was associated with the lateral prefrontal cortex, an area involved in planning and self-control. Conscientious people arrive on time. They're super organized, they're better at setting goals, and they persist amid setbacks. And within the definition of conscientiousness is an even narrower trait known as grit. A University of Pennsylvania psychologist has found grit to be a much more consistent predictor of a child's success in school than simple IQ. It turns out, what we commonly think of as a negative trait can be modified to work in our favor. An Emory University professor recently compared the psychological profiles of 42 U.S. presidents up through George W. Bush, using data from historians that rated their presidential performance. He found that many of our nation's top leaders possess the fearless dominance trait. Surprisingly, it's also one of the primary traits of a psychopath. This certainly doesn't mean that our presidents are psychopaths. It suggests a negative trait, like fearless dominance, can be adapted to reflect boldness. Fearless dominance is linked to low social and physical apprehensiveness. It's the trait that makes psychopaths reckless and violent. But in our presidents, the same trait gives them the courage to lead a nation in times of crisis. Which of our presidents had the highest rankings on fearless dominance? Theodore Roosevelt was number 1, followed by John Kennedy, Franklin Roosevelt, and Ronald Reagan. So, whether you're conscientious or bold, science is proving that our genes may be influencing us more than we thought. The key to a successful life may boil down to a set of inherited behaviors, good old-fashioned hard work, and a little bit of luck.